Winter can wreak havoc on your skin. Hey, it's Kayla, and it's not just the weather, but as a new mom, I've seen my skin change in ways that I'm not too happy about. But that's where the Skin Center has you covered. Their most popular treatment is Botox because they're the best at it. They've been ranked a top 10 provider in the nation by Allergan Aesthetics, the makers of Botox. And their best facial is what I got. It's the HydraFacial. It exfoliates, extracts, and hydrates all at once. So save your skin from these winter blues and DM at the Skin Center MD on Instagram and mention code Kayla to get $100 off your first Botox or filler treatment or any skincare package.
The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
Hello, everybody. My name is Austin Sumwoods here from All Things Elite Podcast, joined with my good friend Floyd Johnson Jr. and JR is joining us for this episode. We had to get this up immediately because the AEW landscape has completely, and the wrestling landscape for that matter, might be shaking to its core at this moment in time because of the massive announcement that Cody Rhodes and Brandi Rhodes have officially left All Elite Wrestling.
Wow. I am in shock. I would have bet a paycheck that this wasn't going to happen. That's just going to be my first initial thought. JR, you?
For me, to be completely honest, I feel like this is the biggest earth-shattering news since Scott Hall and Kevin Nash joined WCW because it doesn't feel real.
Yeah, I mean, it's unreal, the fact that everything that's happened leading up to this moment, because, I mean, we didn't realize that ladder match between Sammy Guevara and Floyd and Cody would be Cody Rhodes' last match in AEW. I mean, well, first off, what a match to go out on if that's truly the case. But, like, yeah, I have right now, I'll go through the statements that were made. If you haven't seen them, post that on their social medias, both from AEW and from Cody himself. Brandi also made a statement too, but if we go through every single one of them, we're going to run out of time. And we wanted to get this up as quickly as possible. Cody's statement began with how he loved his time in AEW. He had an amazing locker room, amazing fans, amazing people. The Revolution was indeed televised, and he was incredibly lucky to be part of that. Thank Tony Khan. He's taken the baton and run with it. It was an honor to work for him and to know him on a personal level. He's a beautiful soul. Obviously, need to thank my wife, my incredible wife and mother, my baby girl, Brandi, for all of her love and support throughout this journey and the amazing relationship she's fostered with Culture City and the American Heart Association. Brandi also thanked those two organizations as well as AEW Heels members. I also need to thank Nick and Matt Jackson. These two, whether they know it or not, took an undesired and not confident little cub and gifted me the confidence to become a leader of the pack. Kenneth Omega, Chris Jericho, Chicken. It's a little bit of an insider thing that not us fans are limited to. We started the fire. I must thank Tim W., Keith M., Greg for the amazing production crew who understood and captured the vision with such grace. I can't name everybody, but all these people that he named off of, including Tony Schiavone and Dana, and the hardest worker in the game as well, QT Marshall, for propping me up and kicking me in the ass when I was running on fumes. He also thanked all the kiddos that he had a hand in bringing in: MJF, Jade, Sammy, Darby, Lee, Ricky, Tom, The Guns, Brock, Velvet, Nyla, Aubrey, Turner, Vanilla, Solo, Spears, Julia, Anna, Will, Wardlow, Sonny, Fuego One, and of course Negative One. And he also said, give Jade the Cody Vader. So let Jade come up that little elevator up the middle of the ramp, is Cody's wish. And he said, also need to take a moment to thank the great partners at Warner Media, Brett, Sam, the rest of the team. So many milestones and memories of the Renaissance through sweat, blood, and tears, literal fire, and all of that. I left it all on the mat. Everything pales in comparison to the final contribution I was empowered to lead at the company, the community outreach team. In the most inward moments, your outward behavior and your ability to take fame/influence and do something for the value of the communities you visit, whether cameras are on or off, is the highest honor. I'm confident Amanda Huber will lead the department with style. I'm so proud of my creations and contributions and the items I supported or collaborated on with such wonderful professionals. Thank you, fans. Y'all did the work. Let's live forever. And Tony Khan also had a slight statement made where he thanked Brandi and Cody for how integral they were to the launch of AEW, and his boldness and passion for the industry and love for the community outreach helped deliver AEW on a mission to give the fans what they needed for far too long, something new, innovative, and lasting. So again, literally just broke earlier this morning, and are you there? I believe you're still there, but Yeah, this just broke this morning, and I gotta say, man, like, because I know some people are like, oh, this is gonna be the biggest work since like Mark Henry screwed us over. Of like, oh, he was retired, but then he wasn't. No, man, like I can't imagine this being anything but the 100% truth. And of course, the instant reaction is people wondering, is WWE the next destination for at least Cody? We don't know what the destination is for either Cody or Brandi. But people are already thinking, with it being WrestleMania season, does Cody Rhodes make an appearance or show up in WWE? And getting into my thoughts, just full thoughts, I can't imagine that ever happening. Like, even in the last promo that he cut leading into that ladder match, he was still taking shots at WWE with the Gunnar McGillivray line and talking about the Wednesday Night Wars again, and the Red Dragon graduated hip toss class. I don't need to see the Bucks to defeat the development no more than once. Like, he was still taking digs. Like, I don't deny that WWE probably reached out and tried to contact him, but there's no way on earth that I could ever see Cody showing up in WWE. If he does, and it's 100% happening, it will be the biggest shift in pro wrestling since, I would say, CM Punk showing up in AEW after 7 years. And probably even more so than that, because this would be the first AEW defection to WWE, whereas so many people have come from WWE to us. It would be the other way around for the first time ever, and it would be a former EVP doing so. And honestly, like, I'll wrap up my thoughts because, again, like, I can't even imagine what they do next. Whether they become family people and they just stick to being parents, or if Cody proceeds to just keep doing like the Go Big Show, possibly divulging out to acting, or maybe he goes back on the independents. Who knows what the future holds? But like, I know Floyd is the Cody guy, but like, I cannot thank Cody and Brandi enough for what they have provided for AEW and helping making this company exist. Because I mean, dude, this is my favorite wrestling company at the moment, and they've given me such incredible moments. And I had the honor and privilege to interview Cody back at All In 2019 for StarCast. It was unbelievably outstanding. Sydney has been a member of Heel since they started, my little sister, and she has loved every moment of it. And Brandi's been nothing but cool to me and her, especially Sydney, like all the women wrestlers, and her really propping up the women's division, really trying to build it and help make those girls look great. They are so integral to AEW that it's impossible to not think of AEW and not think of Cody Rhodes or not think of Brandi Rhodes. So whatever they do from this point onward, I am 100% excited to see what they do. It's still a shocking moment. I'm still processing it as we speak, but we'll go to Floyd next, and then we'll get JR's thoughts. But
Well,
Floyd,
I was gonna let
you want to save yourself for last?
I'm gonna let JR go first, and then I'll finish off the show.
There you go. You know what? That makes sense. JR, so full thoughts on this whole situation.
Real quickly, let's also bit historical information. May 16, 2017, a fan asked Dave Meltzer, do you think Ring of Honor can ever sell out an arena with 10,000 fans? Dave Meltzer replies, not anytime soon. Cody replies back, I'll take that bet, Dave. I already gave them their biggest buy rate, put the Bucks and I on the card if they must to promote, and we can do it. As we know, that set the wheels in motion for All In, which was the precursor to AEW. So there's, just so nobody thinks differently, there's no AEW without Cody Rhodes, because it was him having that bravado that said, we can do this. And the success of that with Tony Khan's financial resources, and as well as his connections with TNT, led to the creation of AEW. And I think history, especially, and wrestling fans should really thank Cody, as you know, we're talking about Cody, but you know, Cody, Young Bucks, and Tony Khan for being able to do this, because it gave us another product to look at, to be entertained by. And we all know wrestling's at its best when there's competition. With this particular situation with Cody, it's very, I'm trying to get my words and thoughts together because there's so much you can say. Cody's the type of person that bets on himself. And there's probably going to be a lot of rumors. There's going to be a lot of discussion about what happened, what went down. But the one thing that is for sure is that if he is truly done with AEW, he believes whatever is next is in the best interest for him, his wife, and his family. And the one thing I will say is, if he does go to WWE, at the end of the day, WWE, whatever is going to make money is what they're going to do. And there's a lot of other people in the history of WWE that have taken massive shots at WWE that Vince McMahon and WWE have forgave. Whether it was Superstar Billy Graham and the steroid, accusations and stuff and going on Donahue, whether it was Ultimate Warrior suing WWE for the rights to his name, whether it was Hall, Nash, and Hogan, and Eric Bischoff essentially almost putting WWE out of business. So to me, what Cody and the shots he took is minute compared to some of the other issues that Vince McMahon has had with talent. And I guess the last part for me is because I don't want to ramble is I really do wish him the best in his future. And if he believes potentially going to WWE is in the right direction, potentially going on the, independent circuit and making his own schedule is better. If he wants to make his way into, whatever, any other potential projects, he's going to give 110% and he's going to go to the best of his abilities. The one thing that I hope doesn't happen, and we've heard rumors of there been potential falling out with the other members of the elite. And the one thing I will say is when you get into these positions of power, it's not that power is corrupt, but when you're in that decision-making ability, sometimes you believe your decision is better than someone else's decision. And I can tell you, working in an academic setting, I see this a lot with executive officers who think their decision is in the best interest for a university. And I'm sure if that's, when you get in a situation, whether it was Cody or the Young Bucks or Tony Khan or Kenny Omega, that, each of them believe whatever they put out front is in the best interest for either a talent, a storyline, or AEW. And in the last 3 years and getting closer to this point we're at today, maybe Cody felt that it wasn't in the direction that he wanted to go, which is fine. Everybody makes moves. Everybody goes on to other opportunities. And depending on if he decides to go to WWE, if presented in the correct way, I can tell you right now, and people are going to doubt it because of how he was at Stardust when he was in WWE. If he comes and presented as the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes I don't care if it's Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, he is automatically, in my opinion, a top 5 talent for them because of their current booking situations they've had. You present that man as the potential main eventer that he wasn't, or main eventer that he was in AEW. You bring him in and put him against a main event caliber opponent. As example, Seth Rollins, he's a top 5 superstar for WWE.
Okay.
And I'll leave it at that.
So, all right. So let me finish out. Woke up to 25 messages in my phone asking, was I okay? I literally thought a family member passed away. Like, seriously. I sleep during the day, so I keep my number on a low vibrate, so it just keeps coming in. It will wake me up. That's what happened. Yeah, I didn't think this would happen. No time in my life do I ever say I'm 100% sure anything. I was 100% sure Cody was resigning with AEW. He was too ingrained into the fiber of what AEW was. I am shocked. I made a statement on like my own personal Facebook group, but I'll make the same statement here. I come from wrestling from a sports background, as far as I've been watching sports all my life. Players change teams. The WWE is the Yankees, right? Winning a World Series with the Yankees is almost more important than winning World Series with anybody else because they're the Yankees. But the one thing is the Yankees are going to Yankee. And in this case, I think Cody's going to the WWE. He might do something else, but I think he's going to the WWE. And I just think in bidding wars, WWE wasn't going to lose all of them. You know what I mean? Just don't think that was going to happen. That's how I see it. I may be completely wrong. I may be completely off. I just think the Yankees are going to Yankee eventually. They're going to throw the number out there that you can't say no to. And if that's the case and that's what happened and that's what Cody got, he did exactly what he said he was going to do. do exactly what they said he was going to do, and that was go from undesirable to unfreaking deniable. So if he got the number or whatever that I think he may have gotten, or he got in a position that I think he may have gotten going to the WWE, the moment he steps in and they present him as the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, he wins. Because that's all he ever wanted to be in WWE from the very beginning, was the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. That's all he ever wanted to do. All he wanted to be is presented seriously and as a top guy that he knew he was. So, yes. But more important than anything that he's going to do is what he's done for me. As far as a wrestling fan, he has literally changed my life. As far as a wrestling fan, from Ring of Honor to All In to AEW, I've been to more shows in the last 3 years than I probably went to in a lot more before then. I have an excitement for wrestling that I never had. This show doesn't happen without Cody Rhodes. So I genuinely thank him, and I wish him the best, him and Brandi the best. But I want to make it clear, it's still AEW over here. You know what I mean? I'm still doing this show. I'm still going to be at the Big Four. I'm still going to the shows. I just wanted everybody to know, I know my fandom of Cody ties me into, has been connected to my love of AEW since the beginning. But AEW as a wrestling fan base has won me over on its own outside of Cody. So I'm just letting everyone know this show's still going to come on. We're still going to hit. I'm still going to be at the events. My thoughts and heart is with my friend Tiffany right now. I know she is taking this hard, and we're going to see where she goes. We're going to see what this means for her going into the future. But yeah, AEW still exists. And I do want to point out to all those people that say Cody can't wrestle and all the Jeff Jarrett comparisons, his first match in AEW, 5 stars. His last match in AEW, 5 stars. That's all I got.
Yeah, and again, like, I'm right there with Floyd too. Like, I've not attended the amount of wrestling shows that I've had since, like, AEW's started with All In, like when that started. Being there, and then I went to Double or Nothing, All Out, Revolution, then I went to All Out 2021, and then, like, I just, the amount of wrestling shows that I've gone to has amplified since AEW's creation. And we're definitely going to keep an eye on what Cody does, because, like, again, AEW would never be a thing if it wasn't for Cody, if it wasn't for the Young Bucks, if it wasn't for Tony Khan. Like, he is an EVP. He is absolutely one of the reasons why this company exists. And whether you are a massive diehard AEW fan like we are, or you hate AEW and you are a fan of WWE, you can't deny that the wrestling landscape was changed for the better for having another product that people could go and work and develop and learn, love wrestling. Like, having more wrestling companies is not a bad thing, no matter what company you cheer for or what camp that you find yourself in. And again, Cody, with that shot that he threw to Dave Meltzer, like, yeah, we can sell out a 10,000 person venue. And they did. And then everything else just was history. We will definitely keep an eye on Cody. If anything develops, I'm sure we'll talk about it. But yeah, no, again, it's absolutely earth shattering. And this is still developing again, too. We're in limbo right now in terms of what Cody decides to do from this point onward. And we don't want to make this focused solely on Cody too, because again, the women's division was helped out because of Brandi Rhodes, and she did so much for the community outreach stuff, and also same with Cody and the American Heart Association, and creating a safe space for women's wrestling fans, which, as an older brother, like, to a little sister, like, thank you for providing that, because as somebody who really cares for his little sister, having a spot like that where she can really showcase her fandom and not feel pressured or concerned about, like, outside interference is a genuine great thing. So I think we'll wrap everything up with, again, Cody Rhodes and Brandi Rhodes. Thank you so much for everything that you've done. And we genuinely can't thank you enough for what you've provided to AEW. But before I let Floyd wrap us up on this quick breaking news episode of All Things Elite, guys, continue to follow us on social media. All at AT Elite Pod is our Twitter. At Social Suplex are the guys that make this show possible. Please follow them and all the other shows that they have on their network. Myself, I am at Austin Sumowitz, SZUMOWICZ. Floyd is at Floyd Johnson Jr. on Twitter. And our good friend JR, please tell everyone where you can be found on social media and as well as your podcast. Still got it.
You can find me Professor on Twitter, and our podcast Trick or Treat is at Trick or Treat Pod. That is at Trick or Treat Pod. Currently on hiatus due to some personal issues, but loud and proud at the beginning of March.
All right, and I just want to throw that out there again. That was at Lucha Professor on Twitter. He cut out when it is, so I don't think everybody heard it. That was at Lucha Professor if you want to hit up JR. Austin, thank you for jumping on. I know you usually have a very busy week. JR, I know you're at work, so thank you for jumping on with us. We appreciate you listening. I just want to end the show with thank you, Cody and Brandi. Like I said, you changed my life. And to that, I say, whether it's home, work, or school, always do your best to be elite.